Heroes are meant to inspire. They fight for something greater than themselves, justice, honor, and a kingdom worth saving. We celebrate warriors like Kratos and Commander Shepard, legends who carve their names into history and shape the world with every battle they win. And for years, many have placed Geralt of Rivia among them. A lone swordsman, a monster slayer, and a protector of the innocent. But what if we've misunderstood him entirely? And what if Geralt isn't a hero, but something more complicated and more human? Welcome to Gaming Greats. In this series, I'm going to be dissecting some of gaming's most iconic characters, and mostly their impact on myself and my love for the art form that is gaming. And what better way to begin than with the White Wolf himself, where today we will unravel the contradictions, burdens, and quiet truths of Geralt of Rivia, to answer one question above all else. What does it really mean to matter in a world that doesn't want you? And of course, if you love deep dives into gaming legends, please consider hitting that like button, as it's the only way the YouTube algorithm will push me out to new viewers. And also, please consider, subscribing for more content like this in the future. But without further ado, welcome to Cult Rushmore. Let's lock in on the White Wolf. Geralt was never meant to be a legend. He was never meant to be remembered. He was trained to be a tool, a witcher forged in blood, and mutated to slay monsters, but then disappear. He wasn't meant to have a legacy. He wasn't meant to have a name that people whispered in taverns, and yet, history has a way of keeping the wrong people in its pages. Witchers were created to fight monsters at a time when humanity teetered on the brink. They were necessary, but they were never loved. And now, as the world moves forward, Geralt represents something it no longer wants to acknowledge. A reminder of the brutality that built civilization. Despite their hatred, people still come to Geralt when they need him. They spit at him, but they call for him when the wolves come. They curse him, yet they leave coins on the ground after a contract is done. You see, he's tolerated, but he's never welcomed. And that is the curse of being a witcher, I guess. Not to be forgotten, but to be remembered only when it's convenient. You see, he's a relic of a world that no longer has a place for him. But what happens to a man who is no longer needed? Some would fade away, others would try to change themselves to fit in, but Geralt does neither. Geralt's answer to his fading relevance is quite simple, actually. He just keeps moving. He does the job, he takes the coin, and then he moves on. To some, that might seem like the actions of a reluctant hero. After all, he does save lives, and he kills beasts. He puts himself in danger, so others don't have to. But Geralt isn't a hero, at least not in the way we understand it. He doesn't believe in some grand, noble cause. He doesn't fight for honor or justice. He makes calculated choices. He picks his battles. He's not a selfless warrior, he is a survivor who occasionally does good when it aligns with his own morality. His famous line, "Evil is evil, lesser, greater, middling, it's all the same." It's a terrible impression, but we carry on. It's not a call to heroism, that. It's a warning, a refusal to participate in the illusion that good and evil are simple. But while Geralt rejects the idea of heroism, there is one place where his heart betrays him, and that is his love for others. For a man who insists he doesn't care, Geralt loves deeply. Yennefer, Triss, and of course, Ciri. Each of them pulls at parts of him he tries to bury. He tells himself he's just a witcher, that emotions and, attachments, they're dangerous, but time and time again he chooses them over logic, over survival, over even his own beliefs sometimes. His relationships, well, they're complicated, messy, and often painful. He and Jennifer are drawn together like fire and kindling, bound by a wish and yet constantly testing the limits of their bond. Triss offers him something different, stability, a softer love, but even then, there are no easy answers. And lastly, how can we forget Ciri, the daughter he was never meant to have? In her, Geralt finds something more than love. He finds purpose. For all of his talk of neutrality, of staying out of the affairs of men, there is nothing he wouldn't do to protect Ciri. And maybe that's the real contradiction of Geralt. He's a monster, but he loves more fiercely than most men. And perhaps that's what makes him most dangerous. We assume that because Geralt is our protagonist, he must be, one of the good guys. But what if we're wrong about that? Geralt's very existence, you see, it's unnatural. His body, his mind, they are the results of cruel mutations, experiments that shaped him into something beyond human. His senses are sharper, his reflexes faster, his emotions dulled. He does not age like a normal man. His lifespan stretches far beyond that of those around him, forcing him to watch as friends and those lovers wither and die while he remains. He is feared not because of what he does, but because of what he is. And deep down, he knows it. He doesn't argue when people call him a monster, because in their eyes, he always will be. And yet, that does not stop Geralt from moving forward. Geralt exists in a world that will never truly accept him. And that, somehow, to me, in a way, feels familiar. Look, many of us know what it feels like to be tolerated but not embraced, needed but not truly wanted. Look, we all work hard, we all solve problems on a day-to-day basis, and yet sometimes we remain outsiders in the spaces we inhabit. But what Geralt teaches us, above all else, is resilience. He doesn't change himself to gain acceptance. He doesn't seek validation from those who just will never give it. He simply keeps moving forward. And I know I've said that a lot, but even when the world sees him as something lesser, even when he is cast aside, he doesn't stop. And I believe that's something we can take to heart. The world may never fully understand us, may never give us the recognition we think we deserve. But just like Geralt, we keep going, and we keep moving forward. And I think that's why each of us have a bit of Geralt within us. He's not the traditional hero, he's more. And that's why for me, he is one of gaming's greats.